You want to go over Weiland notes?
Yeah,
now?
because if he doesn't get here by 8:20, just tell him to go home.
He'll be here.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't want to spend my whole morning here waiting for him.
It's the same story with him every time. And he's late.
I know, he can't be on time.
You know, the thing is, I warned them to not be late because he was an hour late last time, and I almost sent him home. And I was very clear with the publicist. I was like, he was an hour late last time. If he's late, it's going to be an issue. And if he's not up here by the time we finish the spot, Howard's going to tell him to fucking go home. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
And I warned him. I don't know. All these people find a way to get to other shows on time.
Is he ready to go?
No, he's not even up yet.
Why bother?
He joined Velvet Revolver just for the money. He said he was getting high at the time.
We got to bring Scott Weiland in, so let's get him in. Come on in, Scott.
Where should we be?
You can come in with us.
Okay.
We're going to the other green room.
Okay, great.
I'm going to get Scott. Hey, Scott, I'm going to get you signed in right away because we're going to be on in about a minute, if that's okay.
Okay.
Chris?
Author. That means I write books.
He's going to have to sign in.
Scott Weiland has written a book about his life. You might say, hey, Scott, you're too young.
Does he remember it?
I don't know. Some of it, I don't even know that he really does remember it. I think it's other people telling him.
Right.
Scott, of course, is a founding member of one of the greatest bands ever, Stone Temple Pilots.
There he
Also
is.
in
Look at
Velvet
him.
Revolver. There he is, still going strong.
Was in Velvet Revolver.
3 hours asleep.
What'd you say, Robin?
I said he was in Velvet Revolver.
Yeah.
He's not anymore.
No, he got rid of those guys. That didn't work out well. Hey, man.
There's many things that I know that you do not.
Well, go ahead and tell me some of them because I'd like to know something. What do you know?
What's one thing you know that he doesn't?
And you might be surprised that I know it.
Okay, well then I won't tell you.
What do you have? What are you referring to?
No, just Velvet Revolver, that's it.
I know you hated Slash's wife because she showed up at every fucking rehearsal like Yoko.
Actually, what happened was it started out that way with Slash's wife, and it really was a problem with everyone in the band. And then by the time that the band, the last 6 months, everybody's wife was
Fucking pain in the ass.
involved in the band.
How does that happen,
That's
man?
great. I love that.
That's so not cool.
But it never has happened in STP. I have
Absolutely not.
never experienced that ever. And
You know why? Well, here's what I do know. Velvet, first of all, Slash was like, you worshipped him when you first went into the band. I mean, he was one of your.
I still do. I think he. I mean, I think he's a great person. We all have our deficiencies.
Sure.
And,
Hasn't he divorced that wife now?
That's like their private stuff.
Yeah.
No, but they're not divorced.
They're not divorced, but are they together?
I don't know the ins and outs of it. All I know is I heard that there was going to be a divorce, and
And then you heard they were together.
yeah.
You know what's weird with rock and roll? It's almost like any behavior you want, you can kind of almost get away with it. I mean,
There are no rules.
there's no rules. Everyone can be sort of out of their mind.
No,
you know?
that I think that was more the case, like when like in the 90s, when bands actually made it, by the grassroots sort of way, and if you're into indie bands, you you actually got the single in the mail. You know,
do you still love music? I mean, do you still love making music, or are you just so fucking burnt out?
I love making music. I love writing. I love recording and producing. And
why do you think it's not enough for you, though? I mean, is the downtime so boring?
What I don't like is the fact that in rock and roll, nobody buys records anymore.
That's right.
I mean,
because of the internet.
Country music, people still buy records.
Yes, that's true. Because they're too stupid to work their computers.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
it's just a different culture, you know.
Right.
Well,
it's ruined the record business. You're absolutely right.
It's destroyed it, and so I have to be on the road now to maintain my standard of living.
Are you broke?
No, I'm divorced. So
let me understand your finances before I get into the book. You've written a new book.
Yeah,
and it's fascinating. But Scott, here's what I want to know.
I'm much more cash poor than I was.
You've made how much? Do you ever sit down and estimate how much money you personally have brought in? I don't mean STP. I mean you as a performer.
Yeah.
How much money you think you've earned in your time?
I tried to figure that out one time, and
$30 million.
It was somewhere around
$30 million.
Yeah.
How much of the $30 million? Now you've been married twice.
Yeah.
You just got divorced recently.
My first marriage, there was no prenup.
So she wiped you clean.
Yeah.
50-50, right down the middle.
Yep.
Was that while you were in STP?
Yes.
So she even probably got a portion of your money that you made post-divorce.
Yeah.
Right. Publishing everything.
She didn't take
as much as she could. She didn't take that.
No.
Okay.
But we had a house in San Marino that was
gone.
Just a dream home.
Yeah.
Gone.
Does she still live there?
No.
Okay.
She actually is a wonderful person. I'm very good friends with her brother. Mm-hmm. Still, he lives in Northern California now. He couldn't live in L.A.
But she has more money than you do.
Yeah, she ended up marrying a friend of hers from a childhood friend.
But probably
who makes more money than I do. He's a banker.
But she probably took out of the marriage. I don't know how much she got at the time that she divorced you. But I'm saying she probably held on to her money, whereas you, because of your drug history and everything else, you probably blew through it. Then marry your second wife. You had to pay her off. I mean, that's a recent divorce.
Yeah.
The drugs. Have you ever calculated how much money you've spent on drugs in your life?
It's not the drugs that cost the money. It's the rehabs.
Yeah.
You know.
What do they charge for rehab? A good rehab.
At the time when the economy was really rolling.
Yeah.
It got up to $90,000 a month.
Jesus Christ! And you would go away for 5 months.
That was the time that I hit heroin.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, between the drugs, the craziness, the rock and roll lifestyle, and all that, you really weren't left with a lot. So you've got to go out on the road.
Yeah, but I have money in stocks. I have money in I own 2 homes. I have money in my retirement.
But you have to work in order to, as you say, maintain your lifestyle.
Yeah, I have to. You know, what I pay every month to my ex and to my two children. Is
fortune. It's staggering, right?
Unbelievable.
What do you have to pay? What's your nut? What do you have to come up with?
Between myself and my ex, it's around $60,000 a month.
So you've got pressure, my friend.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny about you? On some level, I think you're the ultimate rocker that you don't give a shit about anything or anyone. And then there's the other side of you that goes, fuck, I need money. There's a responsible side of you.
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing with you.
That's the thing. It's like, you know, as a father, you're responsible to, to be the provider, but I don't want to just be the provider, I mean, my father who raised me, he traveled a lot while I was young. And I remember, just missing my father a lot. And
I'd say based on the book, you had a shitty early life.
No,
I think.
There were parts of it that were really shitty, and then there were parts of it that were just amazing. I think if I didn't grow up in my early formative years in that wonderful town of Chagrin Falls, that it would have been a very
But there was a lot of
life.
But there was a lot of sadness. Yeah, you even described you got your brother into drugs, right? And your brother died of an OD?
Oh.
No. He died of. We thought that it was an OD.
Right.
And by the time we got the autopsy, we found out it was cardiomyopathy.
And then you had another brother, and he was killed, right, by a car accident?
My stepbrother, Craig, who my natural father, he married Martha,
right,
my stepmom, and it was right before his birthday, and I was getting ready to go out there, and I got a phone call, and my mom just screamed out the door while I was coming home from school, and at the end of the driveway, Scott, you have a phone call. You have to pick up the phone. You got a phone call. It's your father, and or Kent, as she would call him, and it was unbelievable. He would ride wheelies, first of all.
This is your brother?
Yeah, I mean, literally.
What was on the phone call? That your brother was dead?
Well, not dead yet. That there was a massive hematoma in his head.
He got hit by a car?
Yeah.
Riding his bike?
He looked one way and saw one car, but it blocked the view of the other car coming the other direction.
Right.
He pulled the wheelie to right across the street, and boom,
got hit.
Yeah,
it's a lot of sadness, right, man?
Yeah.
You think that's what the whole drug thing was? Shitty relationship with your father, divorce, your parents go at each other. Maybe that was it. You just couldn't fucking take it. And maybe music was your only salvation, in a sense.
You know what? I think that this is kind of what it is. Everybody has sadness in their lives. And most people...
That's a lot of sadness to have.
Most people, experiment with, alcohol, marijuana, most people don't experiment with heroin.
Right.
But a lot...
But you say in your new book that you experimented with heroin because you thought it was sort of opening up the creative process for any good rock and roller.
Well, I looked at all the great writers, from the Beat generation, the jazz players.
They all did it.
Yeah, they all did it, and it was like starting to make its resurgence.
It's become romanticized with artists.
It was at the time,
But do you ever notice that
it all kind of ended when Kurt died.
Yeah, because it always comes to a bad end.
Yeah,
even back then, there was no happy ending to the story.
Aren't you amazed by guys like you talk about drug takers, Keith Richards, that he seems to effortlessly go through it. I mean, he's clean now, but I'm saying, like, he kind of went through his life. He did drugs, this and that, and he's like, I did it, and then I kicked it, and then it was no big deal.
Did you ever see that movie, The Adjustment Bureau?
No.
You got to watch it. It's an interesting take on like not just one religion, just the idea of a higher power and angels.
Right.
And they're like a corporation. And they sort of just do little minor nudges here or there that like make you take a different track. It's like Keith was sitting just on a little tree and just happened to fall off and bump his head a certain way, and because of that he couldn't do cocaine again.
I think the angels in some way.
They knocked him out of that tree.
You need to get knocked out of that fucking tree.
No, I don't do cocaine anymore.
Well, you are clean except you drink.
Yeah.
This is what kills me about
it
you.
goes back and forth. It goes back and forth.
Between what? Drinking and not drinking?
Yeah.
But you're not doing heroin anymore.
Nope.
You're not doing cocaine.
Nope.
You're not smoking weed?
Nope. I've never been in high school. It was fun to go surfing and do it. Watch a Monty Python movie.
But why drink? Why not live the sober lifestyle once and for all?
Well, that's really what I want to do.
You can't do it, though. You're not strong enough.
No, I am strong enough. I kicked heroin.
But can you kick booze?
Years.
Booze is just as strong in your life, I'm sure. You always need something to keep you drinking.
No, I was sober for 4 years.
Right.
Like completely sober for 4 years.
Were you in hell?
No, it was the happiest time of my life.
So why not go back to that? You see, that's what frustrates. I mean, when I see you with STP or even with Velvet Revolver, these guys get so frustrated with you because they just want to say, Scott, you're like one of the most talented human beings on the planet. You sing like a fucking angel. You can write music.
You don't understand, like, the politics behind that all. Like, in STP, Dean was a junkie and a crack smoker, too.
Right. But he cleaned up.
Yeah, and with Velvet Revolver, there was only one person, I'm sure you know who that person is, who stayed clean.
Okay.
Everybody
was
fell
high.
off the wagon.
But they get annoyed with you because you're the lead singer. You're the guy they depend on the most. They can get through their fucking set without, you need your voice. You need to have your presence of mind. You've got to remember lyrics. You've got to be the ultimate performer. And they get frustrated with you because they think that you go beyond what they do. Like, they can at least show up. You show up and you're fucked up and stuff like that. And they freak out, these guys. To the point you even describe in the book, you got really pissed off with Velvet Revolver because they said to you, hey, man, you got to go to rehab? You pay us because you're costing us money. And STP, the same thing. They did the same thing. You got really mad at Stone Temple Pilots when you sat there and said to these guys, I got to go to rehab. And they said, well, yeah, you're going to cost us money, so you better pay us.
Yeah.
You got to pay. That fucking did it, right? Because you feel you have an illness and you were going to go get help. And that's saying, hey, don't get help. You pay us. Is that why you were angry and bitter?
There's a lot of resentment because of that, yeah.
You don't feel they're your real bros or they love you? Because anyone who loved you would have said, you know what, you go to rehab. Don't worry about paying us. We'll figure things out, right?
Yeah.
That's painful.
Yeah, that is.
It's shitty. And when you told those guys they were shitty, didn't matter. You feel betrayed.
Yeah.
Betrayed. That's what I got from the book.
But I always hear this thing about the politics, and the politics is always that they're not clean either.
No, I'm not saying they're not clean either. Like in STP, the only person that even, Robert drinks a beer once every, maybe twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
So Scott, what's your point about that?
What I'm saying is during the main part of STP's career, Dean and I
did drugs.
Yeah.
But so he should have been more.
One,
you're right. He should have been more understanding, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
When you said I had
everybody looked at you.
Everyone looked at you and pointed the finger that you're the problem, but there were other problems. You're saying.
Yeah.
Right. Have you had it? Did you ever get it so bad that you just said, "Hey, like Kurt Cobain, I just want to fucking end it all"? Have you ever been at that point?
I've been to that point before, and you know what someone said to me? They said, it's because I had kids, and it was when I was doing heroin still, and I felt like I just could not kick, and I was trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying, and I was getting so depressed.
I mean, you even describe in the book that your wife picked you up from a 5-month hardcore rehab, and you jumped out of the moving car because she would not take you to score. The second you got out of rehab.
No, that was after I got arrested. I spent the night in jail.
Right.
And I was dope sick.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
You know, isn't it crazy? Everyone looks at your life as like, wow, this guy must have it all. I mean, seriously. It's same with like Kurt Cobain. I mean, I look at you and go, oh my God, if I could be the lead singer in a band that actually wrote really great music like STP.
And performs it like you do.
Yeah, and it's effortless.
Yeah.
I look at that from the outside and go, what could be better than the rock star life?
That's got to be fun.
And yet it just seems miserable to you.
Well, touring, that's what I was getting at, is, it's touring now, it has become, it used to be there were only a few nights where you felt like you're punching the time clock.
Right.
But touring has kind of become a punch the time clock kind of gig, because
why?
Because we didn't have to tour as much.
Because you could sell records.
We were selling, we sold 40 million records between, all my bands. It's like, and then, so that meant, multi-million-dollar advances and
you make
publishing
a great point.
and in record advances.
You make a great point that a band used to have time off the road to regroup, write new music. You need time to chill out,
spend time with your family.
And now it's like, well, we don't have that source of income anymore. There's no more record business.
The only way to make money is touring.
And so
for those that are lucky to even be able to tour.
That's right, because you had the following from when records were being sold.
Yeah.
And so you're one of the lucky few. But I see your point, that now you are a touring act. If you're going to make money and really sort of, make this into a business, and you're splitting it with all the guys in the band, you got to be out there on the road. How many days a week are you on the road?
We used to, for most of our career, both STP and Velvet Revolver, we toured 5 nights a week, 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off, and that was the way it went.
Right.
Occasionally there was like a 3 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off, but now it's, for the most part, 4 nights a week.
Is it almost impossible to get up for the concert?
It's
automatic.
I look young for my age, but I'm still 43 years old.
Right. You know spring chicken.
It's like I just you can't do that to your voice every night.
So
when you're playing, an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes.
Is that why you drink, you think? Because you just need something to fucking look forward to at the end of the night to relax you? You need something to fucking just chill out?
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Do you think you're a social drinker, or are you drinking to get drunk?
You know what? Sometimes I don't even get drunk. It just kind of
mellows you out.
What do you drink after? What do you mostly drink after the show?
Yeah.
And what do you have? What do you like?
Well, even like in the late afternoon before.
Do the other band members?
Show.
Do the guys go, oh fuck? Do they roll their eyes and they're like kind of putting it down?
I'm sure they're probably over that.
Yeah. So you're doing it. You're doing it on your own terms. No more wife. You're single now.
Yep.
You lonely?
Yeah.
Can you still meet broads out on the road? At least that's fun. I mean,
no. It's not like it used to be. I go straight from the stage,
right,
to the bus.
So when's the last time you had a chick, even like in your bed?
It's been It's been quite a while. There's a girl that I have very, very, very strong feelings for.
Well, when's the last time you were with her? Because you're on the road, I guess. You don't even see her.
Well, last time I was with her was quite a while ago.
So you're not even having sex.
No.
This is fucking
Wow,
crazy,
what
man.
kind of rock and roll life is this?
It ain't what people think, is it? You're depressed, aren't you? I sense
You're
it.
depressing me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, there's certain things that are depressing. There's certain things that are great. I mean, I just like this. I wanted to write a book, and I finished the book, while I was touring with, it's like, and while I was making records. I mean, I have a jazz standard Christmas album coming out,
I heard
this
about that.
year.
Yeah.
There's like a Diamond Dogs style, covers album that I recorded when I got back from the last tour.
Do the rest of the band hate when you do these other projects? Did they hate that you were sort of like putting out a jazz standards, this or that, or working on this stuff? They want you working on Stone Temple Pilots.
I think they want me to be happy.
Right. Are you friends with any of those guys now, or are you just guys just touring together and you just barely get through it?
No, we're happy. I mean, there's
you talk to them?
Not as much as we're not all in the same bus.
Yeah, how does that work? Like, you guys are doing the same gigs.
How many buses?
How many
4 buses?
Like, you need your own bus? Because you can't fucking handle it, right?
No, it's that, you know what?
You need to chill.
I can't talk after a show.
Right. Do they understand that?
I realized that when I would do a show, afterwards there was all this like talking.
Right.
And that's like when I would really blow my voice out.
Right. It's too much. And plus the neurotic sort of component of it, too. Oh, my God, I got to have a voice for the next night. I got to have a voice for the next night.
It's a constant worry. It's
right.
I mean,
and they don't have that.
I do vocal exercises for 40 minutes every single night.
Wouldn't giving up drinking make your voice stronger?
Yeah, I'm sure it would, but
it's your only joy.
No, it's not a joy. It's something that that I really, I really want to give up.
Do you smoke?
I've always smoked. Yeah,
That's the other thing.
Yeah, you got to give that up. I mean, because your voice, that voice is your meal ticket. That's the thing.
But David Bowie, Mick Jagger, they smoked until they're into their
But why do you always
60s.
compare? Why do you always look at everyone else?
Because
we're talking
what?
about you.
I look at the people that are the legends and see like and set my parameters based on that.
Right. But I want to see you live. You know what I mean? And you've got to. You maybe maybe your constitution is different than David Bowie's or Mick Jagger's.
Yeah,
you know
not everybody lasted as long
Mick
as
Jagger.
And Mick didn't have to tour like you did.
And Mick never was a big druggie anyway.
Right.
Do you are you glad that you're at a band and that do you wish sometimes that you just had a normal life where you had just been maybe a guy who worked in a bank or something like that? Do you ever think that like maybe it just would have all been easier, less pressure?
I mean, there's moments that I wish I had a different sort of job.
Mary has custody of the kids?
We have joint custody.
How does that work if you're on the road all the time? It's tough, right?
Well, it is very hard. If I'm out of the country,
how can you see them?
Then I can't see them. But when I'm in the country, then they fly out and
they can hang with you a little bit.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, huh, man?
Yeah, but when I'm home, I see them, between 2.5 and 3 nights a week.
No pussy, no drugs. on the road constantly, worrying about your voice. The bandmates isolated from, they just go to the gigs with you.
Well, they
You're
have
all-
their own buses too.
I understand. It's sad in a way, though, isn't it? It all turned out.
When you look at how you started out as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's different, though. I mean.
You ever have any laughs with these guys? I mean, is there ever any fun?
Yeah.
Because it
We
was all
still-
fun at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of laughs. So I mean, they're the same old jokes that we laughed at,
Right.
15, 20 years ago.
Do you
but,
think those guys like you? I don't. I think that they're really angry with you. No, I mean, they are angry with you. They are pissed off at you. They want you to be perfect. They want you to be up every night. They want you to be completely drug-free for your entire life. They don't
Does
want you
he
to drink.
write this in the book?
This is what I gather from the book. This is what I gather.
Well, like, put it this way. There, I have to say, Robert on bass rarely makes a mistake. But if Dean hits a clam, or if there's a tempo problem with Eric,
Yep.
it's not the same kind of thing because they look at themselves like they're musos, like musicians, and like I'm the artsy guy.
Right. It's you versus them a lot of times.
Is it always going to be that way?
But it is.
I'm sure. I don't know. I mean,
do you ever want to wring their necks, Scott? Do you ever want to just say to them, listen to me. Do you ever want to just say to them, dudes?
I'm too passive aggressive.
But Scott, do you ever want to just say to them, you motherfuckers, I gotta fucking sing. You fucks get to sit there and play your goddamn bass and your drums, and God bless you, you're good at it. But give me a fucking break. I got to deal with the human throat and sing and front this goddamn band.
That is the smallest muscle in the human body.
That's right. Is that why you always wear a scarf, to protect your throat, to protect your voice?
No, I just think it looks cool.
You look cool. I got to say, you always did. Scott Weiland's book, Not Dead and Not for Sale, is in stores now.
I have to say,
Scott,
Howard, he
yes.
must feel the affection of his bandmates.
No. No, he doesn't.
No, there are times, like, seriously. I mean, Dean and I both share a huge affinity for riding horses.
Right.
And I'm thinking about buying another horse. And I grew up with horses in Ohio.
Did Bowie ride horses?
Oh, I don't.
I think Jagger.
Did Jagger ride horses?
I think.
Maybe.
Yeah. He's a knight, of course.
That's right. He's a knight in shining armor.
Yeah.
Who's the greatest influence on you? I know this is probably a question you've answered a million times, but I don't think I've ever asked it. Seriously, when you were the kid growing up and you would just look at these bands, who was it that influenced you? Because you've written some of the greatest music. Who was it that really inspired you?
I would have to say, as a band,
Stones?
The Beatles as writers, recorders, producers, and just breaking down the barriers of what people thought rock and roll was. The Stones as getting out from under their shadow and becoming the greatest rock and roll band.
That's right. A lot of people,
ever.
that's a very good point. The Stones got out of the shadow of the Beatles, which was almost impossible to do. Most bands could not.
Yeah.
Because you were always compared. And they became their own thing.
Yep.
And they were badasses.
They were the anti-Beatles.
That's right.
Yeah.
And when was that the first album you bought, a Beatles album?
The first album I bought was, or actually, my parents bought for me was was
Petunia Clark?
Captain Tennille's Greatest Hits.
Oh, my God.
Captain Tennille's Greatest Hits. I
Yeah,
was close.
and,
It's always that way, isn't it?
And
Did that almost turn you off to music completely? Or you liked it?
well, you got to figure there were two dichotomies. My mother and my stepfather were pretty square when it came to music.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
My father, my real father, blood father, and my stepmom were like really hip in the 70s when I was a kid growing up.
So you had Captain and Tennille on the one side, and
Yeah.
then you had what? What were they buying you?
Oh, they were listening to Fleetwood Mac. They were listening to the Doors. They were listening to the Stones and the Beatles. They were listening to Jerry Jeff Walker. They were listening to Merle Haggard.
Very hip.
So you really love the music over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They were the more fun parents.
Oh yeah, I mean they had parties. You know,
Scott, in the book you bring up a very painful thing that you remembered recently. You know what I'm talking about. You
Yeah.
were raped by a dude
Oh.
when you were 12.
Yeah.
How'd that go down, man? If you don't mind me asking you about that. That's got to be fucking crazy. When did you realize that? In rehab?
Yeah.
Did you first think that can't have happened? Because why wouldn't I have remembered it all
No,
these years?
it happens a lot of times that you suppress things like that. I knew that something had happened because I remember the Sunday that sort of led up to it happening, and I got a call. I had a horse at this barn, Taylor's Farm. This old couple that owned a barn, and they only charged $20 a month to keep her horse there.
Yeah.
And there were 4 other girls like my age and one that was already in high school, and they called me up. They were drinking on a Sunday, and they said, meet us at the barn. We're going to play Spin the Bottle.
That sounds reasonable.
And I was in like 6th or 7th grade, so I was like 12 years old. I went there, and we made a fort inside the hayloft, pulled out bales of hay, and then put wood over it, and then hay on top of it. So, and then
Little clubhouse.
Yeah, and you know, we were drinking out of a mason jar, and
Nothing better than that.
and you know, we were all having fun, and like, and then this guy like comes in, and he starts having sex with this girl, and it
In front
all
of
of
you.
a sudden freaked us all out.
Was he
really
an older
bad.
guy?
Yeah, he was a senior in high school, but he was 20 years old.
Oh, one of those.
A real winner. Yeah.
And he rode on the same bus, because this is a part of Geauga County where it was very rural, and so I
he
got
fucked a girl right in front of you.
Yeah. And then
And then what did he do? Jump on top of you?
no, and then on the bus, probably about 3 weeks later, he said, "Hey, why don't you come over to my house, and I'll, you know, play you some new records, and you know, we can shoot my BB gun."
Right.
And you know, I said, "All right." And
Even though you were kind of skeeved out by him because you'd had
Yeah.
sex with the girl and everything. But probably
Yeah.
you were honored because he was an older guy who was interested in you and as a friend.
yeah. I mean, and you know, I went over there, and he raped me. He
Pulled your pants down, raped you.
he made me do things to him.
Made you suck him off? And then he pulled
I'm
your
not
pants...
going to get like graphic about it, but he raped me. And
Was it violent? Were you fighting?
Anal sex, you mean?
It was about as hardcore as you could get.
Wow.
And so when did you remember this? As you were writing the book?
I always knew that there was something that had happened.
It's awful.
And I remember in high school having this question, like, am I gay?
Right.
Am I? And I didn't know why I had that question.
Right.
I mean, because I had my first real intense love experience, with my girlfriend in high school, but like, and so it wasn't until, like, I was like around 30 years old that I was in therapy and it came up, and I've done a lot of therapy about it since. Yeah.
It's a complete violation. You know, Scott, I have I know people who have been in a similar situation and always ask themselves the question, am I gay? Because they thought that they were responsible for this. It only happened the once, right, Scott? And yet it haunts you. And to the point that you actually pushed it out of your brain.
Well, it happens to you at a formative time in your life. That's when your sexual awakening is occurring, and you're beginning to identify who you are. And then something like this occurs.
It's tough stuff. So so in a sense, you.
I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anybody.
Does that upset you? Does it upset you that you couldn't go to anyone? That you didn't have one person in your life?
Because the guy told me he would kick the shit out of me, and he would tell everyone in the high school, in the middle school, and the high school, which were across the parking lot from one another, that lies about me, and I wouldn't have any friends anymore.
Scott, when you realized this happened, were you tempted to go back and confront this guy and say, "What did you do to me, you motherfucker"?
No, because you know what, I don't even know his name.
Right. And maybe, do you trust your memory on this? You know it happened, right?
Oh yeah, I know exactly. I know every detail of it. And
then you go home, and I guess at some point you don't even process it because you're a kid, and you just say, "Fuck it, I'm going to just not think about it." I think it's that conscious, you just go, fuck it, I'm not going to think about it. But you always have that question. You go, gee.
Well, you're also trying to protect your family. The people don't realize how complicated it gets, because somebody has threatened you, they've threatened everything about you, and they've maybe even threatened your home life. And so you don't know, you're worried about your own self-perception, you don't know what people will think of you. It gets so complicated for a child that they are sometimes paralyzed into inactivity.
Yeah, I mean, the day that I was coming here, there was a certain newscaster on a certain station that wrote a book, and oddly enough, he was talking about the same thing, and it just blows me away. And what scares me so much is that, like, I have my own kids now, and like, I mean, it would, if something ever happened to them, it would just destroy me.
And wouldn't you feel like, oh man, how am I going to protect them? And would they be comfortable enough to come to me? Do you warn them? Have you ever warned them? Have you ever sat down and said, there's a lot of predators out there?
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to scare them.
Mary and I are, we co-parent together. When we have serious discussions, we talk together about things with them. And we let them know. I mean, we eased into it as they got older.
Yeah. Do you miss Mary?
I miss having our family, and I do miss her. I mean, there's times that I do miss her.
You say in the book you could have saved the marriage if she would have gone into marriage therapy with you, but she wasn't willing to do it, right?
Yeah, she wasn't willing to do it.
Why? Why?
She said, you know what? We went to marriage therapy before we even got married.
Right.
Like, I had this idea that if we went to if we went to therapy, like when we first moved in together,
right?
You know, we had already been like a couple on and off, you know, like, but once Janina like split from me, Mary and I were like a magnet together,
right? And
moved in together, and I had this idea that, you know, if we go to therapy, maybe we can like work out things that might happen down the road, and then they won't happen. They'll, you know, it's like time travel, like, and be able to deal with it. But it didn't work.
Were you ever able to talk to her about the rape, or you never even were able to talk to your wife about it? You were?
Yeah, she knows about it.
It's a fucking incredible book, an incredible life, man, and it's a really honest look at his life with all the ups and downs. And I think people will really enjoy the book, Scott. I'm sure it took you a long time to write it and really put a lot of thought into it. It seems that way to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you're pretty damn honest. You talk about introducing Mary to heroin and stuff. I mean, that ain't an easy thing to admit to.
No, I mean, you know, she was against it. And then, you know, one night I was doing it. She said she kind of gave up and just wanted to feel what it was that I was like so drawn to.
Right.
The thing was that I never saw anybody go from 0 to 60 in such a quick period of time. I mean, within a month. I mean, she was at my level. What a scene.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, listen, Scott. It's I could talk to you for a couple hours, but I won't hold you here any longer. But Scott's book, Not Dead and Not for Sale.
Yep. One thing I want to put across is that, you know what, I am very grateful about having a musical career, an artistic career, you know, to be able to do things like, you know, write songs and perform. I just wish that I didn't have to perform as much.
I got it. I wish you've explained it better than anyone I've ever heard explain it.
You know, I wish I had time to write more books.
And write more songs.
And paint more. And, you know, do other artistic endeavors, you know.
I understand it now. The way you explain it makes sense. With the record companies going belly up and the fact that you can't make money as a recording artist, you don't have that time to sort of percolate and let that songwriting thing happen. And you're on the road being a musician 24/7.
Yeah.
I get it. And you got to come up with $60,000 a month. That's the fucking bottom line.
Yeah.
You got to do it. You're a dad. Oh, shit. You got any heroin?
Stop
no,
it.
No. All right. Listen,
it's
been a long time.
I get it, brother. All right. Scott Weiland of the great band Stone Temple Pilots. He's got the book out. Go get it.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good.
Heavy stuff in there.
Yeah. What's this?
Howard has his own news department, and that's a digital recorder.
Oh, really? So what am I supposed to do with it?
Well, I'll hold it. So I'll tape you, and so will Greg.
Oh, okay.
No worries.
Scott, that's a lot of heavy stuff in your book that came up.
Yeah.
Does that conjure up a lot of things? You know, I know you took the time to write everything and remember everything, but the way Howard goes through, you know, all the painful stuff.
Every time I talk about that, I mean, whether it's with my mom or my ex or my psychiatrist, it is a heavy situation. But, you know, I'm not gonna allow myself to be defined by that. It's an awful thing that happened, and I mean, there's been a lot of awful things that have happened. You know, my brother passed away, and lost the love of my life. But there's been so many great things that have happened too. So
you want your story to be about overcoming all the obstacles and more of the focus on all the positive that's
I
happened
think
in your
it's
life.
kind of a mix of everything. You know, it's like you know, now with mass media the way it is, I mean, everybody is a journalist. You know, nobody really you know, knows who I really am. It's like, so I decided, you know what, I want to write a book. I want to put it out there, no matter how difficult it is, and tell my story. And as, you know, brutally honest as it is, you know.
The way Howard walks you through some of the things you've written about, is it almost therapeutic in a way? Does he handle you with the right amount of sensitivity, you know, given the heaviness of everything that's gone on?
Yeah, you know what, I have a real good relationship with Howard. He's always been respectful. I mean, you know, of course he has his shtick, you know, that he you know, always asks about, you know, so like, how many girls you dating and actually, I have a girl that I have a lot of feelings for, and this one's gonna take some patience.
The next time you return to talk to Howard, where do you hope you're at in your life, and what will be going on?
I would like to definitely would like to be not drinking anymore. It's probably the most important thing to me right now, as far as goals.
Okay. Well, thanks for stopping by, Scott, and good luck with your book.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, man.
Good luck. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good stuff, right?
Yeah. Might be a little bit of Artie.
I know.